Welcome to the Afterthoughts podcast. We are here joined today by Justin. New City Church.
Yeah.
Wait,
Justin,
New City
welcome.
Church is your last name?
Yeah, Justin, New City Church.
Justin,
Yep.
what's your last name?
Smith.
Smith. So it's
Justin
not
Smith.
Justin.
Most
Okay.
generic name on
From-
the planet.
Right
Justin
off-
Smith.
Right off the bat, the most important thing about a church is its merch.
Yes.
We all know
It's true.
that. And
Yeah.
this
Of course.
hat I got
course.
at the New City Church launch. Love
Did
this
you?
hat.
Love it.
You guys like it?
I love it. I really
It's-
like it.
A church that launches with good merch will be successful.
We get a
It's
lot of
Proverbs
questions about that
13:8.
merch. We meet people all the time and they're like, we like the hat. What is that hat? And we're
Yep.
like, oh, it's a church we're starting. They're like, oh, well,
Oh,
even
never
if
mind.
it's not cool, you got great merch.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
All the time.
embroidered. That's not printed.
this is legit.
It's
This
only,
is-
the most high quality stuff.
Yeah, of course. Well, that speaks to the quality of your church. Excellent merch, excellent church.
man.
Yes.
Write that
Yes.
down.
As,
Uh-huh.
as we've always said.
Justin, you launched 5 weeks ago.
5 weeks
Let's
ago.
go.
As of the
man.
recording of this episode,
Yeah.
if someone listens in a year, you'll have launched 5 weeks in a year ago.
That's right.
But as of today,
Dude,
congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah, man. That's
We're
a big
really
deal.
excited.
Crazy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Freethan and I went to the launch. He got the same hat. He's not
Yeah.
wearing it today. It's kind of messed up, but
Wow.
it was awesome.
It
There's
meant,
a ton of people at your launch.
well, it meant so much to have you guys there.
Well, we were happy to be there.
Yeah.
It was great. The first guy we walked in, this guy like welcomes us, super friendly. He's like, how you guys doing? How'd you about New City? We're like, oh, we're friends with Justin. What about you? How'd you get involved? He's like, oh yeah, I used to go to Red Rocks, but and I was just like, I was just waiting for him to just rip the church, and I was gonna be like, that's I agree, man. I couldn't agree more.
Couldn't
Like,
agree
he was
more.
nice.
Good.
It was hilarious though. But it was a great launch. Congratulations.
Appreciate
Tell
that.
us a little bit about you, your family, and what's the DNA of New City.
Yeah. So I'm married, been married for 10 years.
Yes.
I
Nice.
met my wife when I was in 8th grade. We're both from
Wow.
a really small town in Arkansas
Okay.
called Arkadelphia. It's a real place.
That's
Great
I
name.
know.
Arkadelphia.
Yeah. It's a real place.
Like what kind
That's
of population are we talking?
10,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
Small.
real small.
Yep. Arkadelphia.
Like our choices to eat were like Waffle House, Taco Bell, and Wendy's. That was about it.
Yeah.
Which was your
The
favorite?
staples.
Oh, depended on what time of day it was.
Waffle
3
House.
You
a.m.
know? 3 a.m. Waffle House. Yeah. 3 a.m. Waffle House.
3 p.m.
Taco Bell.
Okay.
Taco Bell.
That's a good answer.
So we met when we were super young. Her parents basically are like a second set of parents to me
Cool.
and stuff. It's amazing. We've now got 2 kids, 2 boys, a 6-year-old who just started kindergarten and a 3.5-year-old. They're killing it. They love Austin. They love everything we're doing. It's amazing. And yeah, so we ever since I graduated college, I've been doing some sort of ministry
Okay.
and felt the call to plant a church early. Me and the guy who discipled me in college we dreamt about planting a church in Boulder when we were
no
like
way.
22.
I
Yeah.
love
Let me
that.
make you
Yeah.
feel more at home.
Get the bus hat out here.
And I mean, thank God we didn't do it. We were not ready for it. Yes. Yeah. I went to
Yeah.
grad school at Baylor, so I'm a little bit not a fan right here.
Oh, well, Hail
But it's
Mary.
okay. It's all right.
Sorry, man.
Quite the game.
It was.
It
quite the
was
game.
amazing.
But I've been wanting to start a church for a long time. Really felt like God put that in our hearts. My wife and I have been talking about it for 10 years now. And long story short, and we can talk about it if you guys want to, but we moved to Austin a year and a half ago and started just inviting people into our living room. And then that group grew and grew and grew. And we launched Sunday services 5 weeks ago. And New City is a church just built on we want to help people encounter Jesus, find their people to belong to, and become who God created them to be.
Yes.
And
It's
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
So good.
And to make Austin new.
Make
That's
Austin
right.
new.
How
That's
did
right.
this come about?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the shortest way that God ever talks about what he's doing in the world is Revelation 21:5, sorry. And it's, behold, I'm making all things new. And so we feel like we've been called to play a part in that. We're not the ones here to save Austin. We can't do that. God's been doing that. You guys are ahead of us. People were ahead of you guys. God's making all things new, but we've got to play a part to play in that.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So fun.
man.
It's always
Come on.
it's always so fun for me when like that mission statement is so heavy on my heart and has been for years.
Yeah.
And when you see somebody else doing it,
Yeah.
you feel like you like are meeting a teammate
Yeah.
who has been like running the same race and helping to like spot the
Oh,
same weight.
Absolutely.
And that just makes me so happy.
Absolutely,
So we're
man.
so grateful for you.
Well, I can tell you that at the New City team, we talk about how we want to be like Red Rocks when we grow up.
Wow.
Like we say that all the time. It's literally something we say
You need to
all the
think-
time.
You need to think bigger.
We think bigger.
I think we can,
or
help
maybe
you
more mature.
Yeah, we
not do that.
we
I think we can talk you out of
we
that.
for real, but we for real say that.
By the,
We
end
for real
of,
say
by the end
that.
of this episode, you will have changed your mind and have a better vision.
We need to help Red Rocks be like us when they're a little older.
By grow up, you just mean be 6 years from now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Be 6 years older.
Y'all don't feel grown
Yeah.
up now.
No, we don't. So there's a guy named David Smith that you
Yeah.
guys know.
Yes.
He's just knows everybody.
You
and
know
he's,
him?
He's
Yeah.
a church
Oh,
connect, of course.
man.
Yep.
So a while
Love that
back,
man.
I get a call from David, and just totally out of the blue, he's like, "Dude, I got this round table of Baptist pastors. I need you to come as a young guy and just rile them up." I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. Like, it's just, what is it?
That's the same
He's like,
exact
just show
invitation
up.
I got.
Yeah. So I show up.
Which, to be
it was
fair,
exactly that.
if I'm David and I need someone to come do that, Ethan's the guy I'm calling.
Well,
absolutely.
I showed up and tried not to talk the whole time, and I don't even remember what the presentation was about. But at the end, David's like, "Ethan, what do you think about all this? Do you have anything you want to say to the group?" So I spouted off about something. Anyway, I was sitting at that table, and I was looking around, and there was only one other guy under 50 in the room, and it was Justin.
Yeah.
So after, I'm like, well, obviously I'm going to talk to him, and found out he was planting a church. So our friendship started that day,
Yeah,
and
man.
we've gotten to keep up a little bit through this process and hear
Dude.
about all you guys are doing. And now we're grateful to have you here to talk
Yeah.
about church planting.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of people that right now it seems like want to plant churches. I've
Yeah.
met with a couple in the past couple of weeks that want to plant in Austin.
Yeah,
so I
same.
think your story is inspiring.
Yeah.
You took a leap of faith. You moved here. So we'll get into all that. But the most important thing about a person is their sports team. So we
right.
need to
Yeah.
know
That's right.
all of your allegiances.
Oh man. Well, name a
NFL.
sport. NFL.
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Mm.
I'm not like a diehard fan,
Okay.
but I grew up in
Tough
the area.
weekend.
Arkansas. You pick the Chiefs or the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Thank you for picking the
Thank you.
Cowboys. The
You
Chiefs would
picked
have
right.
been a
Yeah.
horrible
Yeah.
pick. Okay. NBA?
NBA. Mavericks or Spurs. I know that you can't do that. I know, but
You
We're
can.
right in the middle.
we're right in the middle.
Yeah,
so that's fine.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You're a pastor.
Mavericks or Spurs, depending on how many people in Austin like each team.
That's
Got
right.
it.
Yeah.
All
Whatever
things to
your
all
church
people.
migrates towards, you'll just
That's right. That's right.
Sure.
Totally.
That's
Hockey?
right.
Do you follow the NHL?
Hockey, yes.
Oh, here we
yes,
go.
I'm a Stars fan. Grew up a Stars
Oof.
fan, like
Ooh,
Mike
okay.
Madonna. Are y'all hockey people?
Avs all the way.
Avs, yeah. Grew up a Stars fan.
Yeah. We were up in Dallas.
Mike
some of
Madonna.
us-
He's in the Mighty Ducks.
Yes,
The
he
original
is.
one.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he
is.
is.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Little
man.
Mike Madonna. He was great.
Oh yeah.
We went up to Dallas for game one of the Avs Star Series, which was the only game we won in that series last
Oh,
year.
really?
But we
Dude.
won in overtime, came back and then won in
Yeah.
overtime, and that was very fun. But Dallas Stars fans were so nice.
Really?
There was a Stars fan that
Good.
came up after, was like, "Do you want me to get a picture of all you Avs fans in this section?" And I was like,
After
"What? I would
After
have
you
tried to
just
fight
won.
all of you."
Yeah.
on this one.
Right.
Okay.
I want you guys to remember this victory. This is just a
This is a
really
big moment.
special evening
He
for you
probably
guys.
knew
He
that
knew.
they would win the next
He knew
four.
it was coming.
Baseball, MLB.
Baseball Rangers. I've got a
Okay.
friend who's on the Rangers.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're diehard Rangers friends.
Oh,
now.
that well.
Rangers fans now.
As you should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, college sports.
Baylor. I went to grad
Went to-
school
okay.
at Baylor, so
Yeah.
Yep.
we're big Baylor fans. We're waiting for basketball season right now.
Yes. Right.
Yeah,
But had some great years.
we did. We
in the
did.
past decade or two. All right, Doug. You're going to be here for the debut of a new segment called Watch Doug.
Oh
Debut,
man.
okay.
Okay.
Doug is passionate about guys on YouTube who have created a whole platform to just rip apart churches.
Oh yeah,
They're his favorite guys in the
yeah.
world.
Yes.
We all love those guys.
Uh-huh.
So I want you to do a Watch Doug segment about Justin and New City Church.
Oh,
We need like a
man.
Watch Doug like theme song. Something.
Yeah, we'll
something
work
like
on
that.
it
Yeah,
when
we
Corey
do.
read his
I might have to
jingle
think about
segment.
this for just like a few more minutes, guys.
Okay, you think about your Watch Doug segment. We'll move
Can
to
I-
another segment.
Can I ask a few questions? Let me
That's
ask
actually
a few.
Kayla's bit.
I give you permission, Doug.
Well, let me ask
Questions
a
with
few-
Watch Doug.
Okay, yeah, I will jump in with the Watch Doug segment when
the time
you
is
guys
right.
least expect it.
Oh,
And it's,
Okay.
it's going to be
That's the
midway
thing about
through.
Watch Doug.
okay.
It's always when you don't expect it.
It's
He comes out of nowhere.
I'm going to be listening for Justin to say one little thing,
man.
Oh.
and I'll take it out of context.
Perfect.
And
Do
I will,
not-
yes,
do not be
exactly.
at
Thank you
ease,
for
Justin.
jumping in.
Nervous
We're
enough.
workshopping this segment, so
Dude,
thank
Do
you.
not
Okay.
be at ease.
Yeah, but
Justin.
I-
He's always watching.
I think
Gosh.
I think creating a YouTube channel just to sort of be the news reporter of bad news in Christendom with pastors and churches. It's just such a beautiful calling that just builds the kingdom.
Yeah.
And none of those guys want the influence that it just kind of naturally brings you because bad news sells, but they just bear it. You know what I mean? Like champs. And so
he's going now.
Okay.
It's working.
All right, let's
Watch Doug is in motion.
actually before.
No,
I just
wait, no.
You know what?
Let me just.
Were you gonna go to questions with Kayla?
No, I wasn't. I want you to say whatever you're gonna say.
No, never mind.
No, please.
No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm curious though, because 5 weeks in, I remember we started our relationship series. It was in February of 2019.
Mixtape.
Mixtape.
And I had this was going to be my third sermon.
Okay.
So how many have you preached out of 5?
4.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And I had a panic attack right before
You
it
did.
because, and it was in the little bathroom. It was like we had a men's and a
He's
women's,
been to
and then
that
I've been
space.
I've been
Yeah,
to-
he
okay,
knows.
so there's like the
Yes.
little family bat where you can actually lock the door.
It's the only place to
And
get
I
away from
went in
people in the
there
whole building.
and
Yeah.
just sat on the floor, and I was like, this is my third sermon, and I'm out of material.
Oh my gosh.
And this keeps coming every 7
Oh, yeah.
days. This
Yeah.
keeps coming.
Oh yeah.
But I remember that
Oh,
feeling
yeah.
of it was. We look back on it now because we just got to go back to the building to
Yeah.
gather where
Yeah.
we started the whole church, and
Oh,
it was
that's cool.
It was powerful. It was my first time back there since in like 4 years,
yeah.
Dude.
and
Had you gained any material in that elapsed time?
no, nothing.
Still
But
don't
here
have
we are.
anything.
Yeah,
Still here.
but somehow every weekend,
Amazing.
managing to give a message, and but that I think the feelings in that season were some of the most intense emotions I have ever felt in my entire life.
Yeah. Totally.
So I'm just curious, how do you feel?
Tired a
Yeah.
little bit right now. I mean, not like in a really bad way, but like definitely like, like when you have a newborn,
Mm-hmm.
like everybody tells you when you guys are pregnant and stuff that you're never going to sleep again, kind of a thing. And we were told like, hey, this is going to be like, this is going to be a busy season. This is going to be crazy trying to meet a bunch of new people. The sermon prep every Sunday. I haven't preached every Sunday for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And I forgot. I was telling Ryan before, like I forgot how tired you would get on Mondays and stuff like that. And so getting back into the rhythm, we're tired, but we're also just so, if this makes any sense, so energized because we're just seeing God do some pretty incredible things. And so like every Sunday afternoon and every Monday I'm beat, but like Tuesday we have staff meetings on Tuesday afternoons, and we start by just celebrating what God's doing. And every time I leave that meeting and I'm like, dang, we get to be a part of this. This is cool.
That's awesome.
So
Amazing.
yeah, kind of a mix of exhausted and really fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember saying, I've never been this terrified and alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll take that combination any day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both of those.
I resonate with that a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the makeup of your team?
We've got a cool team, a kind of a big team. I think, I don't know if it's a big team or not, but we got me.
Watch Doug will tell you. He'll let you
Sweet,
know.
yeah. Just tired of these church planners with these big teams.
He's getting it. Justin could be.
You should have less people so that you can make less of an impact.
That's right.
And it can be harder.
Yeah.
Be more faithful.
You're supposed to take up your cross, not your staff.
Once you get Watch Doug going, he's a snowball.
This is a debut though.
Yeah,
this
this
is
is
the
big.
first time.
The idea sparked in our last episode. We're cooking up some really important stuff here on this podcast, and now it's happening. And I'm liking it so far. All right, keep going.
Me
Let's-
too.
Would love to actually hear this.
So our staff, we've got me, and we've got actually my brother-in-law.
Okay.
You guys are brothers, right?
Yeah.
So
Don't do it.
well, too
Never
late.
plant with
That's my
family.
sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dude, we got some learning to do. From
You either have
guys.
to fire them or kill them. Those are your only two
Well,
options. If it goes south,
Yeah.
otherwise it's great.
If
That's
it
what I
goes
told
south,
him.
Okay.
if they start asking bad
I will
questions.
That's
do-
right. What to watch next?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
wait, real quick.
I'm sorry.
I promise we're gonna
Dang
let you
it.
answer this
Oh, you're
question.
good.
Yeah.
But I think this is important. It actually is not only possible, but so amazing.
That's what we're finding
build with family. You just have to be willing to have the courageous conversations that you have to have. I mean, Ethan's essentially family to
Not
us. So
blood
this
related,
whole
though.
thing
Yeah.
has been.
But y'all have been friends for a really
I
long
actually
time.
just want to clarify that. It's not blood related.
Yeah. Watch Doug. Ryan thinks Ethan's blood related.
Our boys this morning, Doug was like, or they said something about Will's uncle. He's like, one of my uncles is the pastor. And Zeke was like, my son was like, yeah, Ryan, my uncle Ryan. And Will goes, he's not your uncle. And Zeke was like my uncle. And Will goes, yeah, like we're like brothers.
That's amazing. Dude, that's awesome. They're how old?
Yes.
They're 5 and 6.
5 and 6, and they're getting that? That's amazing.
Okay, so you got your
it's
brother.
possible, and
My
it's a
God.
beautiful
Possible.
thing.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing. I could talk about Ryan all day. His name is Ryan.
Oh my
His
gosh.
name is Ryan.
Perfect.
We hear
Write
you,
that
Lord.
down.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
He is. We don't know what to call him right now. I don't know if you guys resonate with this, with all three of you guys.
We can't say what we call him on the podcast.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. We every time we talk about his title, we're just like, what title do you want to
dude,
pick
titles
today?
Does he just do everything?
He does everything. Yeah.
Titles are the worst in ministry because you wear so many hats.
Yeah.
And then when you have a title, everyone's like, oh, so you do that
totally.
one thing.
Totally.
It's like, actually, it's
My
like 20
title's
things.
really the only one that kind of makes sense because it doesn't mean much. Everyone else's title, it's like, we're going to give you this title, but this is not your job.
Yeah.
Everything is your job.
Yes.
So we got Ryan. He's incredible teammate. The best decision that we made since making the decision to plant the church was to put him on the team.
Nice.
And then we've got Matt, who you guys just met actually.
Yes.
He's running
Justin
our
Bieber.
Yeah,
He looks like a young Justin Bieber.
this is going to
So
be
does
JB.
Justin.
it's going
Which-
to be a big deal to everybody on our team
Yeah.
to hear that.
And
Okay.
you have people say you look like Justin Bieber.
I have had people
And your
say
name
that.
is Justin.
Yeah,
Or-
which
so let me
there might
just
be
ask.
a bias there that my name is Justin.
Elephant in the room, are you Justin Bieber?
We've never been seen together.
Okay.
So true.
That's all I'm
Can this episode be with special guest Justin
So
Bieber?
true.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, sing,
Perfect.
sing something for us, Justin.
Oh, that yeah. I don't
We'll
think
do
you
it.
want me to do that.
That's the giveaway.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the giveaway.
Matt's running production.
Matt's running production, and he does stuff with college students.
Great.
And then we've got 3 what we call residents
Wow.
who are in this like program with us. That they're here for 2 years, and they're raising which is true of every staff member at New City right now. But they're raising all of their support.
Right.
And basically, the deal is like we'll mentor them, disciple them, show them what it means to lead, and then they do it. They get real
Wow.
life practice.
So you convinced 3 people to be residents with you before you even started the church.
Yeah,
Officially.
yeah. Convinced.
amazing.
That's called leadership.
They're amazing. They're
That's
incredible.
awesome.
We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without them. Henry, Brock, and Rachel.
Nice.
And then my wife Rebecca. She's unpaid, but she does so much. I
Sure.
mean, you guys
Oh,
know
yeah.
all about that
Mhm.
and stuff. And so we that team, and then we've got a worship leader that we have named Jamie, who is incredible.
Yeah, worship was great.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
Good.
yeah, she's so good. And so that team, I get to hang out with them every
That's
week, and
great.
they're awesome. They're
Kids
just
ministry?
my favorite people. We kind of take that, my wife and then Rachel, our resident. They kind of
Cool.
tag team that, and they're killing it.
Great.
Yeah.
You guys do setup teardown?
Yeah, every week we do set up tear down.
What time are you there?
7 a.m.
And the location, the building is called
East Austin College Prep,
Yep.
Services at.
10:30.
Okay. Get
Yeah.
all the important info up front in case people get sick of
Don't
watching.
bury
and
the
stop
lead.
watching this episode. 10:30
Yeah.
Sundays.
Yeah, man. 10:30
Cool.
Sundays. EA Prep.
Love it.
It's a blast.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Well, we have a segment that is a timeless favorite.
Oh.
I guess it isn't timeless because it does have a start time, but questions with Kayla.
Hey.
Kayla's back.
I
Gra-
am.
Welcome back,
Great
Kayla.
to
Well,
have you
they,
back is what
I mean,
trying to
I was
say.
here last week, but I left after the
We had a bye
podcast.
week though. We had a bye
Oh,
week.
that's
So
so
we're all
true.
back.
Yeah, we're all back.
Welcome back.
Good to
us.
have all of
I'm
us
so
back.
glad that we're all back.
Kayla got a
And
chair.
I do have a chair.
Congratulations. She was on a stool up until this point. 57 episodes on a stool.
Well, I
Dang,
think the
man.
past few times I've had a chair, but thanks for noticing now,
right.
Ethan.
55.
Got a lot going
I'll
on.
talk to you
A lot
later.
of-
Yeah.
Thanks
Lot
for
of
sharing
moving
about
parts.
Kayla.
Yeah.
Congrats on the chair.
Thank
First time
you.
I noticed it, and you're welcome.
It's the hot seat, so
Yeah.
you don't
All
want
right.
to be in this one.
You got some questions for Justin?
I do,
Oh, we just
yeah.
got this. This looks really good.
What's your name? You work? Where's Jacob?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, when did we start a podcast?
Yeah.
You guys are brothers? When did that happen?
I don't know. Okay, these are mainly for you, Justin,
Okay.
because we know a lot
thank
about
God.
them.
Yeah. We will just not. Let's just not speak.
Yeah. Oh.
Our audience
That'll
would
be
love
helpful.
this.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I'm going to go for a second.
Just gonna. I'll just bear the load of the podcast
Go,
here.
Justin.
All right,
Yeah.
Justin. What is the best piece of advice that you got for starting a church?
Best piece of advice. Lead from your own spiritual health. That it really doesn't matter what I do if I'm not a faithful, committed follower of Jesus. If my relationship with him's not thriving, I'm not going to be of much help to the kingdom or to anybody else. God can
Very
use
good.
broken people. I'm not saying I've got it all
Right,
together.
yeah.
But
You gotta remember that.
yeah, starting a church or doing anything,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be very good at it if I'm not connected. Yeah.
Very true.
Yep.
I love
That's
that.
great.
That's a
Yeah.
great piece of advice. Everybody take that and run.
Huh?
I don't know where you're running, but just take it and run.
Get and run.
Is there a verse, Bible story, song, book, or whatever
Yeah.
that you guys have clung to during this new season?
Definitely would be the one that we just talked about from the hat, Revelation 21:5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God is at the end of the story, which is really just the new beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, behold, or like, look, I'm making all things new. I'm making all things as they should be. Everything that's wrong with the world is gone. Everything that's right with the world is here. And yeah, we dream of that day.
Yeah.
And that's every time y'all talk about like making heaven more crowded.
Yeah.
Same. That's our thing for us is like we want to bring heaven
Mm-hmm.
to Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Revelation 21 is the best chapter in the entire
love it
Bible.
so
That's
much.
it's so cool.
Even the wiping tears away from the eyes.
Oh,
and
gosh.
no more pain.
Yeah.
Oh, don't ruin it for some of our listeners. They won't get there till the end of December in the Bible in a year.
Don't no spoilers.
Have
Guys,
you,
it's
have
the
you
last
preached
part.
Revelation 21 yet?
Not at launch Sunday. We
Yeah.
preached it. Launch Sunday.
Okay, what did you say about there will be no more sea? And then I'm going to watch that.
we didn't get into all that.
Okay.
Launch
Skip the
Sunday.
first
We didn't get
verse.
into all those details.
And the sea will be no more.
The sea will be
Oh,
no
but
more.
wait a second.
Wait, can I not surf in heaven?
You can't surf in heaven.
New Earth?
No, can't surf. No beaches in heaven.
No.
We get
I
that
love that.
question all the time.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a great. It's a weird thing that there's no seas. But
But maybe because it was a symbol of chaos. I think that's what we decided, right?
We just love
think that- I
we
agree
love
with
to
that.
surf so
100%.
much.
But there's
that-
going to
Yeah.
be a cool
Oh, so you
calm
guys aren't
waters that
literal.
can't drown.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Futurists.
Watch Doug's gonna
futurists.
get us. Watch Doug's coming for us.
He's a big we're dispensationalist, so
Yeah.
which I respect and love about you, Watch Doug. Kayla, another question, please.
Yes. So the guys, they kind of had help from Denver with rallying people.
with what?
Whoa. With like rallying people to
Rallying
like
people.
start
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah,
church.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they got people from Denver.
Totally.
How did you like rally people to start?
I just immediately heard her being like, "These guys didn't have it that hard. How about you?" So how did you actually plan a church?
What's it like to
Really
plan
like
a
to
real
plan a
church?
church?
Yeah.
If someone had to actually
I
plan
didn't
a
have
church,
the privilege of just uprooting a church and
Right.
moving it
Yeah,
to a
you
new
guys
city.
didn't have-
58 episodes in, we're dying to know, how do you actually
how
start
do
a
you
church?
plan a church without the song "Breakthrough" by Corey and
So
Red Rocks Worship?
when you start a church, what do you do?
Yeah.
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 No,
What do you
man.
actually do?
No, I know the story. I've heard the story and stuff. Much of the same. We had churches. We didn't just have one church, but we had actually several churches around the country who people came from and moved to Austin, not to work at New City, but to get jobs in the city or to go to school and to help start the church. So when we started in our living room about 1.5 years ago, or a little bit less than 1.5 years ago, we already had this whole group of people that were intentionally living in Austin to start the church. And then from then on, it was like we just showed a bunch of hospitality. We invited people over for dinner. We told them we were here to start a church. We told them about Jesus, but really what we did was just get to know them. We sat around tables with them, asked them about their stories, their families, that kind of stuff. And that group grew. And so then we actually split that group up into 3 other groups that met around the city in homes. And then people started coming to my house on Sunday nights. And then that group grew to where like it was pretty uncomfortable. And we had nothing good to do with kids. Like I threw them in our backyard, or like it wasn't a good situation. And so we started holding these like public events where we just kind of put it out there to Austin and say, hey, we're starting a church and we're building a launch team is the language we used. And so if you want to be a part of a community, that was a big thing. Which I'm sure you guys have seen this. If you want to meet people like you and be a part of a community and live for something bigger than yourself, come to this. We're starting a church. We'll explain what that means and stuff. And so people came to these events, and a lot of them weren't like, I love church planting. Most people don't know anything about church planting. But they would be like, Yeah, I heard there would be more people like my age and people that are like me that would be here, and I'm kind of craving community. So can I meet people? And we're like, yeah, totally. And then we'd kind of tell them what we were doing, and people just started getting on board. And so honestly, it wasn't really like a really great strategy or like charisma or anything like that. God has put together a group of people that I couldn't have done. So there was a strategy behind it, but most of it was just kind of beyond me.
Yeah.
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 That's great. I love it. All right, then
Mm.
my last one. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but go like more in depth of the like vision that you had a long time ago of like
Yeah.
starting a church and like when God planted that in your heart.
Yeah, man, I don't know exactly when, because like I said, the guy who discipled me in college, we talked about planting a church in Boulder, and we dreamed about that. I don't think we had any idea what that meant. We knew how to make disciples, like we knew how to invite people into our lives and just tell people about Jesus and show them what it means to follow them. And we thought, which part of that we weren't wrong. We thought that that's how you plant a church. And it's very important to state we weren't really that wrong. We just were kind of naive to everything else, and we also weren't old enough, like experienced enough. We didn't have the maturity and stuff. But man, that idea just kind of kept growing in me, and then in my wife Rebecca, who is a woman of great faith, but she's definitely the more calculated one of us. I'm like, let's do it. Sure, it sounds great. Let's go. And she's like, let's think about it. Let's make a plan. And we were hanging around a bunch of church planters, not for the purpose of planting a church. We just had friends, and we were hanging around a bunch of church planters, and we actually thought we might get invited to join a church planting team, much like the people on our team now. And so we were like wrestling with this, like considering it. And it was my wife who said, I think we're called to do that. I think we could do that. And for us, if you know my wife, it's like, okay, if she's saying that, if she knows, she's not naive to what it takes to plant a church, the money situation, the uprooting your life, the risks that you take, all that stuff. If she's saying that, I think God might be calling us to do this. And so then years later, we started to really kind of pursue it. And then how we got into actually planting New City actually is a little bit random, a little bit accidental, but God's kind of had
keep that going.
You want to keep that going?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
So we that idea was just there, and we knew we were going to plant a church. And a week before the country shut down for the pandemic, I got a text from a good friend of mine, and he said, "Hey, I know you've thought about planting churches before. You're going to get a call from this other church who's wanting to plant churches, and see if you might want to partner with this church." And I was like, "Oh, great. Thanks for asking me." So I get this call from their executive pastor, and he's like, "Here's what we're wanting to do. We'd love to talk to you about partnering together to plant a church and stuff." And we eventually the country shut down. So I actually called my pastor. I was in Waco at the time. Yeah. Called my pastor from my backyard, and he's in his backyard, and we're not in offices or anything, and say, "Hey, I just got this call. What do you think?" And some lead pastors might be a little bit kind of territorial and think like, "Oh, okay, well, you're going to leave to go do this thing." It was so incredible. He was like, "Of course we've seen this in you. Like, of course we think this is something that you really should consider and explore. And if this is something that you feel like God is calling you to, then we want to send you." And so they're a partner church now. They're one of our sending churches.
Cool. Which church is this?
It's Columbus Avenue Baptist Church, historic church, downtown Waco, and they're incredible. And so yeah, stuff like that, random events like that, where people were like, "Yeah, we see God doing something. Y'all need to keep pursuing this," because though I'm not always the most humble person, but I'm definitely not the person who is like, I can start a church. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was like, I want to be real sure God's calling me to do this before I jump into this, because there's so much risk, so much not even just risk to myself, risk to other people, all that. And then just over and over and over again, we had other people, other wise people that we had brought into our lives and given them permission to speak into our lives, where they were saying, this is something that you should do. And it was actually pastors in Austin who told us to come here. That was a thing. We didn't really even want to come to Austin at first. We thought, you guys will laugh at this. We thought that there was enough good ministry happening in Austin. Y'all, it was covered. Y'all were planting a church at this time, and we were like, y'all are doing a great job. Y'all don't need us to come and stuff. And I was kind of expressing that to a group of pastors, and the ones from Austin said, we would vote for you to reconsider that.
Please.
And if you've got pastors telling you to come and plant another church in their town, that's something to pay attention to. And we have still not met one pastor. I wonder if you guys would agree with this. There's such a unity here. We have not had one pastor who has been like, yeah, we wish you weren't doing what you were doing.
It's the best, man.
Yeah, it's so good, including Red Rocks. You guys,
one of the best parts about this city is how unified all the churches are.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you say to, I picture a watchdog person saying this, or like
hypothetically
like
speaking.
thumbnail, another new church.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
oh, we got that a ton.
What do you say to people who go, there's churches all over the place?
Yeah.
Why a new church in Austin?
Yeah. The main thing, because we got this all the time, is like, why plant another church?
Yeah.
And we said, well, actually, the other churches are the ones who convinced us to come and plant.
Yeah.
You need to know that.
Boom.
And one guy actually asked, I think we're going to baptize him soon, but he's not from church. And he did it he asked the question in a less cynical way. Like Christians or people familiar with church might go like, we don't need more churches.
Yeah.
And
Wait, Christians aren't usually cynical.
Well,
Sorry, did I miss you?
But he was actually asking from he was very genuine in asking this, like, what is your plan to compete with other churches? And he meant that like he assumed that we would.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we don't have any plans to compete with other churches.
Oh, step one, be way better on their podcast than they are.
Yeah. I'm gonna go on every church's podcast and just dominate.
You can tell he's a real pastor. Kayla's asking him like deep questions. Our questions are like, would you rather have a duck-sized elephant or an elephant-sized duck?
Well, that's
So
clearly-
true.
Yeah, what would you rather have?
So true.
Clearly
I
an
said
elephant-sized
ducks.
duck.
Yeah.
Clearly.
No.
Clearly.
Whoa, no.
I want the
would you want a
duck-sized
duck-sized
elephant.
elephant?
That would be awesome. Just a miniature elephant you can take with you.
I mean, that'd be
That's
great,
a
but that
big
kind of
duck. What are you gonna do with that thing?
Well, that's what's so fun about it.
I mean, you could put it out
It's a
front of your
lot
church.
of
People
money
would drive
for-
up like, what is
It's a lot of food, Justin.
That is a lot of food.
I'm
I'm not saying I
that's a
thought
lot
this
of
through.
bread.
Oh, yeah.
You could, you could harvest
I live
the
on-
meat.
Feeding the ducks.
Okay, sorry.
Duck-sized elephant. You're taking the main thing about an elephant. That's
Well,
big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, agree to disagree.
So unity.
New
We
city
there
is
can
kind
be
of
unity
a
and diversity.
duck-sized elephant
Yeah.
church,
We don't have to agree on everything theologically.
but we can still be family.
That's good.
Isn't
That's
that
right.
Take
That's
that,
right.
watch Doug.
Yeah,
That's
Doug.
right. Yeah.
The church divided? No, church growing stronger through disagreement. Boom.
Iron
Local
sharpening
church in
iron.
Austin throwing out doctrine. Duck-sized elephant throw. Belong before you believe.
Dude.
Local pastor said what?
What were you asking him to say?
Oh yeah. What
We
talking
do
about?
this to ourselves. We ruin our own podcast all the time.
There's people who would say there's churches.
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
see
yeah,
a church on every
yeah.
on every corner. So why a new church?
I was telling you about this guy.
Yeah.
He assumed that we would compete with other churches, and it was actually a huge thing for him to hear like, no. Like we actually are part of this a Tim Keller idea, but like we're all a part of this gospel ecosystem
Yeah.
where we actually have something to offer that every other church in town doesn't offer. And that doesn't mean we're better, but it means that we are a unique part of the body, just like each local church is a body with many members. The whole church in Austin is a body, and we are trying to figure out what our unique role is to play and stuff. We're not going to do this as well as this church. We're not going to do this as well as this church, but we could do this really well. This is what we feel like God has equipped us to do. And one of the things we say it all the time, but if our church was to grow and the church in Austin doesn't grow, it's a failure. Like we'll pack up and leave. We'll stop. Because we're not here. I mean, we're here to make Austin new. We're not here to grow a church. And we're here to grow the church.
There it is.
And you can, this is one of the things back to the making disciples and planting churches and how that's basically the same thing. You can plant a church and make no disciples. You can plant a church and no one comes to Jesus. That's very possible. But what we want to do is we want to make disciples and watch a church be planted. And I think we're doing it. I think God is moving in a way where that's happening. And though we do actually meet a lot of people from Red Rocks, but you guys did this. I heard about this and stuff. You guys are sending people our way, unintentionally or intentionally. But a lot of the folks we're reaching are not from other churches.
That's cool.
And we've got some leaders who like have felt called to missionally come and be a part of New City, but for the most part, it's a lot of people who have very little experience with church or haven't been back to church in a very long time. And it's been so cool to see. Yeah,
that's awesome. And I think there's people that are uniquely called or in a time of life where planting is part of what they should do.
Yeah.
Like they should volunteer and be a part of that beginning. There was a guy there that I talked to and he's like, yeah, I was at Red Rocks for a while. Almost like he needed to apologize to me.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
And I was like, dude, I'm so glad you're here because clearly you are in a time of life where you need to be a part of a church plant.
You know his story? So I don't know. I won't say his name.
Yeah.
Because I know everyone's listening. And stuff.
Everyone in Austin.
Millions. Every single person in Austin. His coworkers will hear this and everything.
Yeah.
But he came to Red Rocks on a Sunday. This was probably about 6 or 7 months ago. He came to Red Rocks on a Sunday, and he had all the circumstances in his life led him to like, I got to get to church, and he came to Red Rocks, and he. I don't remember who was preaching.
I think Ryan.
It was Ryan preaching. And did he talk to you? Did he talk to Ryan?
Talk to me.
Talk to you.
Ryan preached.
So he rededicated his life to Jesus. He had a history with church and stuff, and he's trying to navigate that, about himself and say like, okay, well, when was I really following Jesus and all that stuff? But God really got a hold of him on that Sunday. And he rededicated his life to Jesus and thought, I got to get some people around me who can mentor me and know me and disciple me. And he went to Easy Tiger at the link here to do some work. And we were doing all of our events there. We were doing all of our vision nights there. He was not there for a vision night, but he was just there. And he just noticed what we were doing. And of course, I'm like preaching the gospel and casting a vision from the stage at their little patio thing. And he hears all this and he's like, what? He goes up and he actually meets my wife. And I have no idea this is happening, but he meets my wife and he's like, what is this? What's going on? And he's like, well, we're starting a new church. And he's like, oh, cool. I would love to come back to an event. And so he filled out a connection card. This dude is one of our leaders now.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Which is great because sometimes when you plant a church, obviously the main goal is to get people who aren't going to church to your church, right? Unchurched people. But you're going to get people that come from other churches.
Totally.
Often you get a lot of people that are very bitter at their old church,
Absolutely.
or they've been church hopping and they have a problem with every single one of them, and you're the new church in town. And they show up, but if you don't become the church that they want you to become, then you're going to be the new guy that they're mad at. So to have a guy who's like awakening in his faith and just wants to be a part of a movement, and you happens to be in the same place as you guys, that's the kind of guy.
Totally.
That's so cool.
Well, and to the bitter people, we're very upfront from stage every time. I think you guys are really good. I've heard people talk about this, what they love about you guys, but we talk about all the time that we're not going to be the perfect church for you. That I'm not going to be the perfect pastor for you. I'm going to say something you disagree with. I'm going to make a joke that is, I make mistakes. I'm imperfect. We're following a perfect Jesus. We're following a perfect Savior. And that's why we're all here. And so basically we just call people like, hey, stick it out. Because we make mistakes and you do too. So we're going to make a great club together. We're going to, we're going to be, we talk all the time. There's one perfect person in the room. His name is Jesus. The rest of us have got a bunch of crap. Can I say crap on the podcast?
We have never, but it's fine. I'm sure we've never said anything inappropriate.
We say like, if you're walking in with baggage and stuff, like join the club. We sell merch. We have great merch.
You sure do. You had two very friendly people selling merch on launch day. It was impressive.
I don't know what that was.
You guys, let me ask you to say what Justin probably maybe does, but in some ways can't. Maybe there's some New City people listening to this, people getting involved there, or people that are involved at a church plant. How can you be the ideal teammate to a pastor when planting a church and being a part of that sort of launch phase?
The number one thing is one, thank you so much. Like I'm sure Justin, you say it to them. Sometimes when you say it and you're a volunteer, you just assume like Justin's just saying that because he has to say that. I'll tell you, he's not just saying that; he really means it.
Absolutely true.
And so, thank you. Every church plant runs on volunteers, and so like what you are doing has an eternal purpose. So thank you. Also, the vision. Keep the vision. The vision.
Yeah.
It's so easy. We're all humans, and God is giving all of us our own dreams and purposes, and all of that is amazing. Let's, for this next year, just focus on keeping the main thing, the main thing. Have your side calling, your thing that God's calling you to. But man, when you show up on Sunday morning to help set up and tear down, like, let's just build the church. Let's start there. Let's build this firm foundation. And then let's be open to what the Spirit has for us later. But especially in these like first few months, it's such a, like, you really have to nurture it and protect it like you would like a tree that is just growing. And so whoever I'm talking to, I know you know that, but just to double down, man, let the vision be the vision and work to build the church.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I think, and I mean this way more than financially, but be generous with everything. Be generous with your time. Which odds are you are already if you are drawn to a church plant. But I think there is a certain personality in a certain season that's drawn to a church plant because it's really like filling this missing void that you feel. And that's fine, but just be aware of that. That if you show up looking to give, that is actually what's going to fill that void. And then you're not expecting Justin or a church to be something for you that it can't be. Because if you do, then 2 years from now, you are on your way to the next one. And you have church hurt. And I think there's a responsibility on pastors, but also on congregants, because everybody nowadays has church hurt from the last 1 to 2 decades. And I think there's a responsibility on all of us, including just a churchgoer, somebody who comes to the church and helps build it. If we're not going to have people sitting in counselors' offices in 15 years, it's going to be because we're generous with grace. Like you said, we're generous with our explanations for why did Justin say that, or why did the church go do this. We'll come up with the most generous explanation you can for why he decided to lead the church this way, or do this series, or touch on this but not touch on that. Trust that he is in communication with God. Give him the most generous benefit of the doubt. Be generous with your resources. Be generous with your money. Be generous with your time. Be generous with your grace. And I think that sort of spirit will be, first of all, a church full of people who are generous with everything they have is going to build something quick and healthy. So understanding, like, are you looking to give something, or are you there and it's like you're at a church plant, so it seems like you're here to give and build, but you're actually like, no, I'm here to take, and I'm in need. You're going to be hurt in about a year, and it's actually on you. It's your posture that until that is fixed and realized, you will do that at every church. And so I think, the greatest thing that you could do for Justin and for the team at New City would be a generous spirit in every way. But specifically, I feel like the most generous explanation you can come up with for why he decided to lead this way, and why the staff decided to do that and say that or not say that.
Which the watchdogs of the world have none of that. No generosity towards any mistake or grace, I guess.
No.
One thing I'd say is to people that are maybe very involved right now or going to get very involved, in the future, the church will need your tasks less,
Hmm.
but that doesn't mean they need you less.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So many people find so much validation and identity because if I'm not here, part of this church is not happening.
Yeah.
And so they're key players, but then when more people show up
Yeah.
and things start becoming more smooth and running, it can feel like a loss of identity for
Yeah.
volunteers where I used to be really involved, but I'm not anymore. And then feel like they're not important anymore.
Yeah.
When the tasks were really the excuse to disciple people, right?
Yeah,
So don't
totally.
lose sight of that. Generosity, I would just say give straight up. Like 7 or 8 out of 10 church plants fail.
Yeah.
You guys won't be one of those, but the main number one reason for that is financial, just
Totally.
inability to keep
Yep.
opening up the doors.
Yeah.
And it's easy for people, I think, to wait till you prove yourself to them
Yeah.
as a church that you're really going to be around for a while to then give. And you guys are launched, like you're going. So
Yeah.
give and be generous and pour into this place. And just be aware with what they've said of motives of be a builder and not a hijacker.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people are hijackers and they don't realize it,
Sure. Yeah.
but they're slowly trying to hijack your vision and turn it into theirs. You're going to get so many people like, we should do this. We need to start this ministry. We need to do this initiative. And you're going to feel like probably we should do all this stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Because they're all good
It's all
things
great
normally.
things. Yeah.
But it can so quickly just take your vision and put it in 100 different directions. And you're
Totally.
doing a bunch of things you weren't called to do.
Yeah.
But it's the people that put that on you. So don't put that on your pastor
Yeah.
to become the church that you want them to be because he's carrying the vision of it.
Right.
And if you've got such a strong vision for
So
a church,
funny.
maybe you'll plant one day.
Mhm.
So
great.
learn
Yeah.
in this time
Yeah.
And maybe go do that. But
Dude, you end up like
Um,
the Cheesecake Factory where the menu just has like 30
Yeah.
pages
Gosh.
of like all these different things that we
Yeah.
do.
exactly.
And you're like, why? How? If they have this many types of food, is any of it actually good?
Yeah.
And the answer is only the cheesecake.
Only the cheesecake, really.
That's
And
the statement.
Wow.
There's something to that.
That'll preach,
Oh,
man.
maybe we'll
yeah,
run with that.
I guess I
That'll
know where we're
preach.
going to lunch today.
Yeah.
And one last thing, streamlining from the generosity thing is just be kind to the team,
Yeah.
Justin and his team.
Yeah.
I don't think people are aware of how much weight you carry right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the sleepless nights and the
Sure.
panic attacks in the bathroom and
Yeah.
Yeah.
how many comments you get.
Yeah.
And so many of them are just subtle little jabs.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow, the church is great, but I'd love to see this or
Sure.
that or whatever, the emails. And especially in this beginning season, just
Dude.
be a cheerleader, like cheer this
Mhm.
thing on and champion all the great things that are happening.
Yeah.
And there'll be a place to make things better, of course, and be a problem solver, but really just bring joy and peace to this guy and his team versus feeling like you immediately need to come in and fix something that doesn't need to be fixed.
Yeah. 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 That's good. Thank you,
Mhm.
guys.
Hey,
That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah, man.
Do you guys have any questions before I ask a final one or
Keep
two?
going. Keep going, man.
No
oh,
question.
do you guys teach like series?
Yeah.
You do sermon.
Mhm.
What'd you start with?
We started with one on community. We just called it Becoming Relatable, like how to
Okay.
do life with other people.
Yeah.
And so we figured we're starting a community. Let's figure out how to do life with other people, like
Yeah.
friends, relationships, church community, that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Are you still in it?
We're 2 more weeks, I think, in it. And then we're going to, I think the working name we're going is Encountering Jesus.
Cool.
And we're
Yeah.
going to just go through a bunch of stories of Jesus meeting people where they're at and what
Good.
they say about Jesus, what they say about us, the world, that kind of a thing. So yeah,
I love it.
I feel like there's like a hunger for people who really
Yes.
want to actually encounter Jesus, not just learn about him, but like
Yeah.
really know him.
Yeah.
What's your greatest? What are your biggest needs right now? Or prayer
Biggest
requests?
needs.
Yeah.
Oh man.
For your church.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's the stuff that everybody would think of like finances and I mean, first of all, let me say you guys, like Red Rocks has been incredibly generous to us. And that means so much to us. But then, yeah, finances, team members, not just for the tasks that they can perform, but for
Yeah.
the presence,
Yeah.
for just being there, leading by being there.
Yeah.
And honestly, that we would learn, that we would never get to a place where we feel like we've figured it out, and that we're constantly dependent on the will of the Father, the power of the Spirit, and just the wisdom of the folks like you guys who are just a few steps ahead of us, and to just I mean, I text Ethan all the time asking him questions about the most random stuff,
Yeah.
and just always wanting to get better, but not just get better for getting better sake, like getting better as in like getting closer if this makes sense, getting closer to the kind of church that God's trying to plant, and me becoming the better leader and becoming the leader that God's trying to make me. And
Can I ask a follow-up question from there? So in 2018, 2017, 18, 19, we were thinking like church planners.
Yeah.
Now, very much thinking evangelistically, but it's shifted a little bit.
Yeah.
You have been thinking like a church planner in 2024.
Yeah.
What do you feel like the biggest like felt needs of our city are? And what do you feel like people are hungry for? People who are far from God, and then also people who are in the family. What do you feel like people are hungry for right now?
Yeah, I think number one would be community. I think Austin is just filled with particularly young adults who have moved here, and it's hard to make friends in a big city. And that's the main thing that we hear from people so far is like, I came and the thing that made them stick was I like belonged. Like people remember my name. They invited me over to their house, whatever the case may be. And it's not just like young singles and stuff. We're meeting parents and stuff, or like young moms who are like, I need to know others. And stuff. So community is a huge one. I think that's a huge felt need. This is the global culture, but particularly in urban areas like Austin. I mean, we're so content heavy. Everyone's got enough content. Yeah. What they really crave is community, belonging. And a lot of them don't have the tool. That's why we're doing the series we're doing. We don't have the tools to create community, to forge community. Then I think another one is clarity. Clarity on just about everything. They want to know truth. If they're going to get, even the unbeliever, even those far from God, they want to know what's true and what's not. I think people are pretty tired of this, like all things can be true, even if they contradict, kind of thing. They're realizing it doesn't work. And one of the things that we say all the time is that we've got the true story of the universe, but we think it's the better story of the universe. And I think people are really wanting a better story. There's so many bad narratives out there. And we're good news people. Like I said, we have, that's all we do is deliver a good message, good news about what God has come to do in the world. And so, that's pretty easy to meet that need. And then, I think so clarity, community, and then
better be a C.
Oh God, I'm failing as a preacher right now.
Let me call Furtick. One more.
Yeah, I just need
clarity.
A C word for like
Christ.
Calling. Oh man, that one's so easy. I quit right now. I don't deserve
Purpose.
Purpose, calling, that kind of thing. I think people want to know why they're on the earth, not just like why humans are on the earth, but like why they are on the earth. And I think for you talking about far from God and for followers of Jesus, I think both of them have been underserved in that area. I think for those who are far from God, they're trying to make up anything they can to find some sort of purpose, and it's always going to come up empty. No matter how good the story is or it seems, it's going to promise big and underdeliver. But even the followers of Jesus, I think a lot of them, when we tell them all the time, stuff like, pastors are guilty of this, is what I'm saying, of like preaching, like your purpose is to like go to work, make a bunch of money so you can give to the church or whatever. And that's good things and stuff. Or like your purpose is to be in kids ministry, kind of a thing. It's like, maybe also it could just be them serving
part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think what people want to know is like, how has God really shaped me? How has he designed me? Good. And how can I play a unique part? If I'm not going to be a pastor, how can I play a unique part in building the kingdom of God on earth? And I as we've gotten to show people how to do that in their jobs or in their homes or in their friend groups, whatever the case may be, I've seen light bulbs go off and like people are like, this is different. Yeah.
That's so good, man. Great answer.
Yep.
All the way from Arkadelphia. Look at him now.
Great place to call home. That's what's
do you
on
go
the
back?
water
Do you still
tower.
have family there?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We do. My in-laws are still there. Probably will always be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arkadelphia.
Just look it up.
Great
It's a hot spot on our map. of where people tune into the Afterthoughts podcast.
That's right. That's
Now-
right.
now it is.
You'll get some. You'll
Denver,
get some.
Arkadelphia.
Now it is.
You'll get some leaders from Arkadelphia, or get some listeners from Arkadelphia, Arkansas, for sure.
Well, dude, we're really excited about your church.
Yeah.
Thank
Really
you,
glad
guys.
you're here.
Dude.
And you're a great preacher, great leader,
Yeah.
great pastor. Sounds
Well,
like you have a great team.
Do
So
have a great team.
one more time, 10:30.
10:30
Sundays.
Sundays, East Austin
East-
College Prep,
Yeah.
right on
New
the
City
corner
Church.
of 183 and MLK.
Yeah. Maybe you're like the dude that was at Easy Tiger that's like, I want to get
Yeah.
involved with the community.
Yeah.
Here's a great one
Yeah.
to get involved with. Maybe you come to Red Rocks, but you don't like it. Go to New City.
Yeah,
We'll-
please.
Maybe
we'll
you're looking
take
for a
you.
church in Austin. Yeah, I hope.
If you don't like
Tons
Red
of
Rocks, you
people.
might not like us. But
Cut from a similar cloth.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
hey, but looking forward to decades of making Austin
Yeah,
new
man.
together.
yeah,
And
man.
thanks for being on here today and sharing wisdom.
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
sure there's people, whether it's planning a church or some other dream, it's
Yeah.
inspiring to hear somebody who's just taking a leap. So let me let you get the last word here to somebody that's maybe it's planning a church, maybe it's something totally different.
Sure.
You just took a huge leap and it's happening now. It's
Yeah.
in motion, which comes
Yeah.
with a whole new set of
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But how would you encourage somebody that's like, man, this is inspiring me today. What do I do?
Yeah.
How do I have the grit, the boldness to go do something like what this guy
like,
did?
like real practical,
Sure.
get other people around you.
Yeah.
There's no me going and planting a church without older, wiser people telling me that I should. And so this is not just, I mean, God can do whatever he wants, but this is not just some dude in his closet got a word from the Lord and no one else believes it. And, you know, but get people around you. If you feel some sort of call to do something, get people around you, and you likely already have some people around you who can speak wisdom into that. Let them sharpen that, at least your understanding of that calling, and then have tremendous faith. And part of that you can't do. Part of that is a gift from God, and you can't control that. But also part of that is just really faith, I think, is built from just being with Jesus and seeing how he starts to move and seeing how he already has moved and provided.
Yeah.
You know, there's that song or whatever, like he's never failed. Why would he fail now? That's, I think, a true statement.
Yeah.
And get to a place where you can believe that, or where like, I'll do something that is going to put myself at risk, others at risk and stuff, not unwisely, not frivolously or anything like that, but with tremendous faith, where when it's hard, when you have sleepless nights, when you're wondering why you did this, you know, in church planners world, when not near as many people show up on the next Sunday as they did the first Sunday, kind of a thing, or whatever.
I know that.
I talked to a guy.
Still have nightmares about it.
I talked to a guy. He's established church or whatever, but their church had record attendance
Yeah.
one Sunday. The very next Sunday, record low.
Oh yeah.
Since they started, record low.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so like that kind of
Bro.
stuff. There's something to be said about your own security and all that stuff as a leader.
And then ACL hits you for weeks, what, 3 and 4?
This past
5,
2
4
weeks,
and
yeah,
5?
yeah.
Oh,
Don't worry.
We were ready.
F1's next week, so no.
Yeah,
game.
we're good. We think all the rich people who came into town for F1 are going to probably come to New City.
Yeah, if you're a rich European flying in,
that's right.
just stop by and
Stop
tithe at
by.
New City.
That's right.
Tithe
Yes.
is 10% of your income. Thank you,
The-
Europe.
Also, Elon watches this. Elon,
Yeah.
you should just stop by New City
Yeah.
and just
Come
tithe.
on, man.
Jesus' name.
Yeah.
Like
Just
1%.
And
Just
drop-
1%.
Drop a couple Teslas for the
That's-
four of us,
that's-
just
Yeah,
for
yeah,
promoting
yeah.
Elon's
Yeah.
That's right.
Tesla.
Just
yeah.
4
That's right.
Cybertrucks
For Cybertrucks.
that all
I would
say
drive
"Make
one.
Austin new" on the side.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Like it.
branded.
I like
I
it.
like it. That might do a little something different to the message than what we. I don't know.
You just start rolling in a branded
Feel
Cybertruck.
like, okay,
Everyone's
what
like,
does Make Austin New really actually
wow.
mean here?
Yeah,
seems
right.
like we're doing pretty good. He's doing pretty good.
It means you plan a church and then someone will give you a free Cybertruck.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, man, listen, you can't
But
control
hey,
that.
putting tremendous in front of faith feels really right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you and your season and for us and
Yeah.
ours and for
Yeah,
whoever's
absolutely.
listening. I like that word tremendous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think it's true. I mean, when things are hard and you're going to have things that will make you doubt your calling, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Everyone, no people in ministry, otherwise, all have had this thing of like, I don't think I'm actually called to this, or maybe I'm not the guy cut out for this and stuff. And I think more times than not, it's not that you're not the person cut out for this. It's just that you're in a hard season, and the tremendous faith comes whenever you're just saying, okay, no, but God said I was going to do this. God said that he called me to do this, not because I'm qualified, but because he is. And so I'm going to trust him, and I'm
Yeah.
just going to keep walking and take my next step. And so, yeah, get people around you and then build that faith up and start taking some next steps.
Hey, shout out to you for doing it.
Yeah,
And to your wife.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
It's the harder job.
Gosh, she honestly should be on the podcast.
Yeah.
we try to get her. She's busy.
Yeah.
She said, okay.
She gets-
She's
what's
like,
your
I have to
husband's
do
number?
everything to make the church happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have
She is.
Justin.
She's-
Dude, thanks for coming to chat with us.
Dude,
Justin.
thank you guys.
Love hearing your story.
Yeah, bro.
Thank
Love that
you
you're here.
guys.
Excited for years of ministry together.
And guess there's a lot of Red Rocks people listening to this, right?
Wow.
Yeah, there are. There are.
Define a lot.
Yeah. Can I just say, whoever
12 to
is listening,
18
the 12
people.
to 18 Red Rocks people who are listening to it, the staff members.
No staff
they
members.
don't.
Staff
They,
members.
they made sure we knew that they
Yeah.
don't. So
Oh,
that was hurtful.
That's with tremendous faith. You guys are still keep going.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
But particularly to the Red Rocks people who are listening to this, like you have had such an incredible, vital part in starting New City, and you might not even know that. Although from what I've heard, you might know that. And that just means, I'm saying this to you guys too, that just means so much to us. It means like I can't even describe the generosity and the difference that you guys have made in what New City is becoming, and I hope what it becomes and stuff. I'm so excited about doing this together with you guys.
Let's go.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man.
Let's
Yeah,
Glad to
man.
be a part of it.
Dude.
Thank you, Justin. Next week, we have a little bit of a takeover
Wow.
from some special guests that you will not want to miss on the Afterthoughts podcast.
Ooh.
Just for some of the episode. If you start it and you're like, oh, this is going to be a long hour, just a fun little bit at the beginning. It's going to be great. Go Buffs, go Bears,
Hey, sick 'em.
and hook them
There you go.
to the #1 team
That's right.
in
Big
all of
game
the
this week.
land. Big game this
It's
week.
gonna be so
Yeah.
fun.
All right.
on.
Thank you,
Fun.
Justin.
Hey,
bro.
thank you guys.